Hello everyone, good afternoon. I welcome all our esteemed viewers from across the world on the program The Polity. The Polity is a program that takes a deep dive into unfolding political events within Nigeria and even beyond the shores of the country. Joining me in the studio is no other person than Justin Adeluyi. He is leader in politics and policy making. His associates and political associates and friends also refer to him as Mr. Nigeria shall be great again. Justin Adeluyi, you're welcome to The Polity. I don't take your presence for granted. You're welcome.
I'm so grateful, Mr. Maucauley. I'm grateful to be here.
Yes, you are a great Nigerian.
Absolutely.
You know, for your associates and friends to refer to you as Mr. Nigeria shall be great again.
Yes.
Let me ask you, first of all, let's kickstart the conversation by knowing why did they refer you as such?
Okay, I'm very positive about my country. Anybody who knows me knows that I believe unequivocally and without an iota of doubt that despite the state of affairs, despite the ever-dwindling economy, despite the magnanimity of the impudent calamities and insecurities that are ravaging the land, I hold a strong belief that is rooted to the depth of my heart that our home country, the true giant of Africa, Nigeria, shall be great again.
Nigeria has been ravaged, by so much, from insecurity to corruption to nepotism to... I've heard many people say all the indices that reflect a country that is supposed to be tagged a failed state, Nigeria has achieved.
Absolutely.
What's your reaction to that?
Okay, first of all, when His Excellency came into power, one of the major things that happened, which has really touched our economy on a downside, is the fuel subsidy removal. Yeah. This was done to help us to remove all these unsustainable fiscal burdens that have been on Nigeria as a country. But unfortunately, it has had the ripple effect of increased high cost of living, and the masses are discontent. And we can see all of this, the security, the country is still grappling with terrorism in the northeast, banditry in the northwest, separatist movements in the southwest and southeast, but I believe that if we can keep calm, trust the process, be positive about our nation, come together with one voice, one heart, we can achieve greatness as our nation moves forward towards that direction.
Justin Adelusi, you've traveled around the world.
Absolutely.
And, you are endowed with a wealth of experience from your adventurism abroad. How do you feel when you read the when you take a look at the cover of newspapers, Nigerian newspapers, every day in, day out, the stories emanating are that of corruption and corrupt practices, and EFCC clamping on Nigerian government officials?
Absolutely. The Nigerian political stratosphere has been tagged a dirty game. That's part of the reasons why leaders like us, who are filled with integrity, who are filled with empathy, try to shy away from elective politics. Basically, because many leaders in the country are only trying to get into positions of power to enrich themselves. If we can remove all of these things, replace with integrity, accountability, empathy, and a visionary leader who is looking at the long term, not trying to enrich yourself short term, and you have the interests of the masses at heart, I believe we'd be able to remove all of those negative facades. I call them a facade because I don't want to believe it's real. We can work together, the leaders spiraling down to the grassroots, and project a positive image for our country, Nigeria. Now
you are also a policy maker.
Yeah.
I want you to give me an appraisal of the policies, government policies so far in the last 1 year.
Right. So far, I would say the policies have been really good. What I know the masses are clamoring for is a cabinet change. I am looking to see leaders who would have a bit more empathy. With empathy, you're thinking about not predominantly yourself, your circle, but you're thinking about what can I do for my country, not what your country can do for you. That way, we'll see more progress, we'll see more accountability in the government parastatals, and we will see a lot of progress in the nation, Nigeria.
Where were you during the last 10 days nationwide protests against hunger?
I was here. I got here 2 days into the protest. Many people said to me, our youth leader, why don't you join the protests? I believe protests should be peaceful. Protests should be in mass, but protests shouldn't be violent. Because at the end of the day, when you destroy public property, and you're trying to fight for good governance, you've just given the bad government more reason to embezzle money. Because by the time they want to rehabilitate some of these public properties that have been destroyed, they're going to add a whole lot of cost, to that. I don't see how stealing from a mall breaking and destroying public property is going to help to move Nigeria forward. I don't see how having a traffic light being removed from the roads and put in your bedroom is going to help to move this country forward. So basically, if we have organization, if we have one voice, if we have a direction, I believe we can achieve a lot more with these protests, ultimately, if they're peaceful.
Well, you are a young man.
Absolutely.
And Nigeria, can go, for a country that has an army, a countless army of unemployed young people.
Yes.
And to a very large extent, this is the demographic that is being used as cannon fodder.
Absolutely.
To perpetrate
evil.
Yeah. How do you feel, and what's the way forward?
Okay, unfortunately, the majority of the Nigerian youth, the Nigerian population, are living below the poverty line. Many of them are unemployed. But I would say the problem of Nigeria is not just the leadership. The problem of Nigeria is us Nigerians. I didn't say you Nigerians, us, including me, myself. You don't have it working very good for you. I know many people who are finished with the first class have no job. I would say look inwards. Self-leadership, start from yourself, from inside out, rather than complain about the country, rather than look for something negative to say. Start from within. If you haven't got a job, a paid employment, start something from your small circle. I was on a podcast a few days ago and people were complaining of the prices of yams, the prices of tomatoes, the prices. I said for the past 2 years, I've been planting and growing yams and tomatoes in my backyard. Not because I foresaw these things, because basically, if you see that the cost of living is increasing, try to find alternative routes. Try to stay positive in the calmness in chaos. And when everything starts to smoothen out, it's going to be.
You're looking to have a home. You're looking to have a home you can call your own.
Yes.
So many Nigerians, especially there's this statistic that says 70 Nigerians, or about that figure, live below poverty level. You have also alluded to that.
Yes.
They don't have a home they can call their own. So what do you expect them to do? Where will they plant up? And then they find they are taken over by killer herdsmen,
the bandits
and
all these things. What I would say is we should keep calm, trust the government, stay positive. We're very religious in this country, but we're not spiritual. We would rather use the same energy to profess negativity on our country. A typical American would say, God bless America. It's very rare to see a Nigerian say, God bless Nigeria. When I go out to places and I say Nigeria shall be great again, I hear people saying Nigeria has never been great. Nigeria will never be great. You've spoken those words out. So what I say is, if you haven't got the opportunities that many have, if you haven't got the privileges that many have, rather than being negative and push yourself further down, try and have a positive demeanor. Be happy, stay calm, speak out positive words about your country. And one day, this giant of Africa shall attain that position by the grace of God.
Do you believe in the Nigerian youth?
Absolutely.
Why?
I believe in the Nigerian citizen.
Okay.
But the youth, because Nigeria has the largest population of youths in the world, even more than India.
Yes.
And obviously because of age, because of several other factors that come with age. Yes, the youth are the future, but I also believe in the totality of the Nigerian population.
Okay.
More for the youth, because we are the leaders of tomorrow. We are the Nigerian citizens of tomorrow. I believe in the youth, and I believe that with a rehabilitated mind, a rehabilitated mindset, even with poor leadership, we'll be able to augment and work towards greatness.
Many young people have clamored for change of government.
Absolutely.
Or rather, handing of government, from the older generation to the younger generation.
Yes.
But with the benefit of hindsight, I would recall that young Nigerians have been given opportunity, and they turned out to be disappointments.
Yes.
I can remember a young man who exchanged blows on the floor of the House of Representatives. Today he's a bit older.
Absolutely.
I remember a female minister at the age of 37. She was saddled with so much responsibility. At the end of the day, she's been accused of embezzling 37 billion naira. And then remember Yahya Bello of recent. He became a governor at the age of 42.
Which is very
as a young man. He left government at the age of 47. Today he's being accused of embezzling or misappropriating 80 billion naira. How does that make you feel?
That's unfortunate. First and foremost, that makes me feel very sad, because some of these monies, which is actually the ones we actually have found and had access to, are things that could have helped to increase the Nigerian economy, things that could have helped to aid hunger, poverty in the country. Like I would always say, we don't need Nigerian youth in leadership. We need empathic Nigerians. By that I mean people who have the interest of the masses at the forefront of whatever it is they're doing. You know, you have someone with a visionary mind thinking of years from now, rather than thinking of now, let me enrich my cartel that brought me into power. Let me enrich my family, myself. Let me go on private trips with private jets. That's not why you're in power. You're in power to serve others. You're in power to give of yourself to your people. You know, so when you look at your position of power, not as an enrichment opportunity, but as a service opportunity, I think we would see a lot more, a big difference in the leadership of our country.
So from what you have said, I'm convinced to conclude that you believe that, you know, leadership transcends the realm of gender and age.
Absolutely.
So, you know, we've had older people in position of leadership for countless years, for all these years that we're experiencing democratic governance, and we've not had it good. So let's appraise. Anyway, before I ask the next question, let me remind our viewers that our telephone line will soon be displayed on the screen by our producer, so that viewers can call in from all around the world. You know, let's hear your views so that the program can be made conversational and interactive. It is right there. You can see the telephone number is right there. Justin Adelusi.
Yes, sir.
Tinubu administration is 1 year plus. Let me have a general overview of your feeling in terms of, you know, making a difference.
Good.
Because this government came in because they felt the government in place, or the government that wanted to take over from the other political parties, they don't have a robust manifesto. They came with a renewed hope.
Absolutely.
Let me have an appraisal of that renewed hope in the last 1 year.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. This is a very controversial question and very interesting one, and I always have to apologize to my fellow Nigerians before I let you know my personal opinion, which of course we have a right to. I would say, you know, first and foremost, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu didn't come into a Nigeria that was working. We had already gone many years backwards, you know, and to be very honest, the state we were in, we needed a leader who had international recognition and reputation. We needed a leader who didn't have any sponsorship from any godfather. He's the first and only Nigerian politician who was not sponsored into power. The problem with being sponsored into power is the fact that first you have to create policies that would align with your cartel and the cabal or whoever it is who brought you in. And then you realize that, oh, I can do this to favor this. Oh, let me favor myself. And by the time you go deeper and deeper, greed takes over. So what I would say, he had already said before he came in that we should be ready and brace ourselves for hard impact. We're going to go a few steps backwards, and then like a trigger and a bullet in front of that trigger, we move and propel quicker than we expected. So what we're doing now is we're taking those pushback steps, and before we know it, we're going to propel forward. Tinubu is a seasoned economist. His vice president is a seasoned accountant, and I believe we should, rather than complain, he's there. You can't wish him away. So what we should do, rather than complaining, rather than creating a negative atmosphere for ourselves, be positive about your country. Pray for your country. Pray for your leaders. Pray that whatever their intentions are should be centered around benefiting the masses at large. Nigeria
leads the world, you know, as a country that leads in prayer. Well, let me ask you, before President Tinubu came, we know you mentioned the cost of the staple food. It has gone beyond the reach of ordinary Nigerians.
Absolutely.
And then the cost of fuel has more than quadrupled.
That's true.
And you know the exchange rate of the dollar from where the Tinubu government met it and where it is today. And then lastly, there's general poverty. Hunger is widespread across the length and breadth of the country. How does that make you feel? And what do you think is the government doing to reverse that trend?
Okay, so the government have put in palliatives in place. It's not sustainable. It's not enough, simply because of the lack of integrity in several parastatals of the country. You know, but I think we should be calm, because unfortunately that removal of the fuel subsidy had a really major toll on us. Things are going to get worse.
Yeah, that's right.
But things are going to get drastically better. But why I love my country and my fellow Nigerians is the fact that regardless of how it was before negatively, if it starts working, we appreciate. So what I feel as Nigerians, let's give this present administration some time. It's not going to take one single day or one single year for Nigeria to attain greatness. It's a process. So let's just go through the hard times now for a better tomorrow. I believe unequivocally that Nigeria will be one of the most attractive countries in the world and of course in Africa to visit.
Okay, let's take our first caller. Hello, good afternoon. This is the POLITY from KAFTAN Television live in Abuja. We have lost the caller. You are on a line of thoughts. Yes. Nigeria is going to be great.
Yes.
And you are so optimistic about it.
Absolutely.
So what informs your optimism? Is it about the endowment, both in human and material?
Oh, Nigeria is blessed with lots and lots of mineral, human, all the resources we need. But ultimately, what I like to add, we can call that a win-win. But I believe in a win-win-win. Win-win is dual. The third win is community-based. We have no single natural disaster. So if we can put in integrity and build, we're not expecting some sort of monsoon to blow all that effort away. Yes.
Okay, let's take this caller. Hello, good afternoon. This is the POLITY from KAFTAN Television.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, I want to chip in on what that Mr. Man said about we should be patient.
Okay.
Right?
They're going to fight me.
If we were to be in our shoes, can he be patient enough? Does he know how people eat?
I do.
Come on, things are very hard.
Things are hard. He's aware.
Much from the government. We just need little for we to sustain. He doesn't know what the common man is passing from the street.
I do.
We are going through hell.
I do.
You understand? But him coming as a young man, like us, saying such a thing, I'm just so, surprised. You understand? This is not politics thing. If one goes down in this country, everybody goes down. You should consider that we are all Nigerians.
Yeah. Thank you.
So that's my own take. But you should look something about party affiliated.
Okay.
This is not party thing. You understand?
Okay.
That is my own take.
Thank you so much. What's your name, sir? What's your name, sir? And where did you call from?
You said?
Your name and where you call from?
Okay, I'm Mr. J. I'm calling from Lagos.
Mr. J from Lagos, thank you for calling. We appreciate your contribution. Respond to Mr. J.
Okay, Mr. J, thank you so much. That's why when you asked that question, I said I apologize.
Exactly, you first of all apologize.
Fellow Nigerians.
Many Nigerians will not like what you said.
Absolutely, I get.
Because they want you to sit down here and attack government and bring down your government. That's what many Nigerians. And you don't blame them for that.
I do not blame any Nigerian. Every Nigerian is bitter.
Yes.
Even the billionaires.
Exactly.
Every Nigerian is feeling the crunch. All right. My point is to have a transformed mindset, regardless of how bad things are. Have a positive demeanor. If you keep putting negativity into the air, you're not going to get any positivity. So rather than, yes, people are finding it really difficult in this country. Many people can have 3 square meals. Many people can even have 1. I understand that. I'm not having the best of times.
Yeah, in Nigeria.
What I'm saying is, I have lived.
Okay, let's take this caller. This is our second caller. Good afternoon. This is the POLITY from KAFTAN Television.
Hello, good afternoon.
Go ahead, sir. Your name and where you're calling from?
I'm calling from Ondo State.
From Ondo State. Go ahead, please. The program is getting interesting.
Thank you. You know, the point I want to bring out there is that this particular man that is talking with today, I want every one of us not to shy away from a particular issue. What is that? Word of God, which is the Bible. If we neglect it, we are going to be gambling. How do I mean? If you look at 1 John chapter 5 verse 19, that place said something. He said, we know that we originate with God, but the whole world lies in the power of the wicked one. Meaning that Satan is the one ruling the entire world today. Then we cannot control ourselves unless God's kingdom. This is how we are going to be doing it. Because if you look at you, look at me, we are not 10 years old, 20 years old. Since we are being born, this is how the generation has been struggling. That's how it's going to be continued. Not that maybe I'm causing the entire world or causing Nigeria. But what we need to do is pray for God's kingdom to come. Not this governmental kingdom we are talking about. Even Daniel chapter 2 verse 44 said something. That is going to destroy the entire world. Power when time comes. His own kingdom will now start. The time indefinite. It will not be shifting from one man to the other. Sounds like what we are experiencing today. So that is the what I can see. The way that everybody is saying his own mission, his expression. But you should remember, it's only God that can rule, not humanity.
Thank you. We appreciate your call. You know, you started the conversation by saying we're too religious in this country, but we're not spiritual.
Absolutely.
He now came from a spiritual angle of it.
Absolutely.
You know, can you respond to
Yes,
some of the
please.
issues?
I'm very grateful for that person who called from Ondo State. You know, I believe as a country we have so many churches, we have so many mosques, we have so much religion.
So many shrines.
Are we really spiritual? Because at the end of the day, the hearts of every man are in God's hands, and He pushes in whatever direction He wants to push them to. What I would say is, pray for Nigeria.
Okay.
Be positive about Nigeria, and we shall attain greatness.
Okay.
Hello?
I believe.
We shall attain greatness. Good afternoon. This is the Polity. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Abel King.
Abel King, go ahead, sir. From where?
I'm Polity Ancestral Government of Edo, Nigeria.
Edo State. Okay, go ahead. Justin Adelusi is here in the studios. Go ahead with your contribution, your
My
thoughts.
regards to everyone there in the studio.
We appreciate you.
Regarding to what my brother is saying in the studio, there are no, all is well with him. That's why he's saying what he's saying like that. Yeah, if you check this country, they are saying the youth are the leaders of tomorrow. But we are not seeing any change of that. Right from memorial, we have been hearing that old men still continue ruling the country. Now, he said that every Nigerian, you know, in his house, he has a farm at his backyard. What of the person who doesn't even have a house? Where will that person farm?
Respond to this.
The hardship in this country, I know he's not feeling it. That's why he said what he's saying. But
can assume.
he said we believe in one Nigeria, but the way things are going, at least the leaders should consider ordinary masses. If they are all enjoying, you know, but they should consider the vulnerable ones. We are not smiling.
Okay.
We are not happy.
Okay.
That's my take.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much from Edo State. You know, I have said this times without number. We don't need the Nigerian youth. We need empathic Nigerians who have the interest of the masses at the forefront of whatever it is they're doing. I have the interest of the masses. I believe that those who are suffering, those who are living below the poverty line, deserve a chance to be happy, deserve a chance to have something. You know, unfortunately, the Nigerian youth are ravaged by the triads of these three addictions: drug addiction, gambling addiction, and prostitution. So the Nigerian youth would rather go into any of these three vices than bother themselves with policy or policy making. If you go on my Instagram, you go on my Facebook, go everywhere, all I talk about is how Nigeria
this thing you talk about, this thing that you talk about, I think the Nigerian youth found an enabling environment for that.
Yes.
Who created it?
Well, nobody created it. You know, the way I say to people, we are all going through this crunch. I dress very well, but people might just not understand that
Exactly.
it's very, very hard. Very, very hard.
Hello, good afternoon. This is the Polity from KAFTAN Television.
Yeah, good afternoon, presenter.
Yeah, this is.
I'm welcoming your guest in the studio.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
This is Safianu calling from Nasarawa.
Yes, I know. When I saw the line, I know this is Safianu from Nasarawa. He's a regular caller and he contributes very, very
eloquently. Thank you very much, Safianu. Welcome today.
Let's tell ourselves the reality. My own opinion, personal opinion.
Yeah.
The youth of Nigeria, they have no hope. Why I say so is that since during President Muhammadu Buhari, there is no type of life that they didn't like in Nigeria. That after 3 months, after nomination ministers, give us time, 8 years has finished. We're in another government now. How do you think that youth of Nigeria will believe with no thing to show, no any sign of change in the country when things are getting worse and worse every day? I was even surprised that at times I will be hearing people saying we should give the government time. Whose time are we going to give them? When things are worse every day, are we going to give them on security or on economy or infrastructure? They are fair. So the poor man is the only person that knows how he's feeling the country. The country is very hard. We should tell ourselves the truth.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You know, Adelusi, from your looks, Nigerians address people by their looks. You look, ostentatious. You look comfortable because, and you are reflective of the the lascivious way of living by the political class. So I don't blame Nigerians when they address you like that, because of they judge a book by its cover, many of them.
You know, I finished from Covenant, and one thing Bishop David Oyedepo said in our first year is the way you dress is the way you'll be addressed. So you dress how you want people to address you. I am the future of leadership in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I'm not going to dress as a doctor. I'm not a doctor.
Right,
I am a Nigerian leader. I'm proud of my Nigerian outfit, and I'm going to dress, and I'm coming on TV. I've got to look the part. So it doesn't mean I'm not feeling the crunch. Oh, I am. I am.
Everybody.
Oh, I am. I'm into digital marketing and communications. I'm feeling it very, very well. I barely have, you know, my needs met. You know,
but you have found a way of eking out a living.
Yes, by being positive.
By being positive.
I have a friend here in Nigeria from Australia. He's into transformational leadership. What he does is he helps you to rehabilitate your mind. You can be going through so much chaos. You can have a backlog of trauma, you know, from your childhood or wherever it's come from, but you can still live above the negativity. That's my point right now. While we wait and pray for Nigeria to attain greatness, rather than feel sorry for yourself and suffer the domino effect of everything just spiraling down, not working for you, live above the water. I'm like this with Nigeria, and I believe that way, as soon as we attain greatness, it will be a win-win-win for everybody.
Okay, there are echoes. Now we are diving into the main topic of conversation.
Right.
You know, the last couple of minutes, we've just laid the foundation, setting the tone.
Absolutely.
Now, okay, let me take this caller before I move there.
Okay.
Hello, good afternoon. This is the Polity from KAFTAN Television. You are live.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Your name and where you're calling from?
I'm coming from Delta State. My name is Yomi.
Yomi from Delta State. Go ahead with your contribution or comments.
I appreciate you guys for the program and the opportunity to giving the message to express.
Thank you.
Yeah. What I want to tell the young man there's a level of pain that people can bear.
Very true.
You are telling us to bear, telling us to be patient, but we are seeing the leaders every day buying presidential jets of billions of naira, billions of dollars. What happens to the refineries? You can just see the fact is the man are not asking for much. Just little things you do, you see Nigeria, we do things by their own and help themselves.
Very true.
But these leaders are focusing on themselves. They don't want to do anything to alleviate the suffering of the masses. So there's a level of pain one can bear. If you tell them to continue to bear while we are seeing you guys spending lavishly
I'm not there yet.
spending money, we are seeing so many
I'm not there yet.
things they are doing. This is really very annoying.
Okay.
So this is I don't know what to say, but honestly I don't think they know what is going on out here.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
I agree. Oh, another call?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I agree with you, my dear brother. I'm not saying that what the leaders are doing is correct. Let me quote myself correctly. And I didn't say be patient. What I said is be positive. We are going to get there. All right? We have to have this cabinet change. If that can happen, we can at least reshuffle. But who are we reshuffling to? It might still end up being the same ball game. That's why we're a very religious country. Let us pray. Let us be positive. Let us speak words of affirmation. If we're going to protest, let us protest in a very organized way. Let's not go and destroy public property. The last protest we did during the NSAS, they burnt the entire BRT buses in Lagos. Do you know how much it's going to cost the government to embezzle more to put that back in place? I don't know if you understand what I mean. So if you're going to go to the senators' houses, I don't support violence. But I feel if you are going to be violent about these things, go in the right direction. Don't go in the way that is going to give them more room to take more and push us even further backwards. And while we're at it, stay positive.
Now there are echoes for cabinet reshuffle. You have already mentioned that. I've interviewed a young man in this studio, and I asked him a point-blank question. And that young man was an undergraduate. He's a teenager, about 19. I asked him a point-blank question. Who is the Minister of Youth Development? You are a youth, and that is your demographic. And then this is the man that represents your constituency. Who is the Minister of Youth Development? He said he doesn't know. And what does that tell you? That there is complacency on the part of whoever the minister is. He doesn't even know the minister, how much more the Minister of State Because there are 2 ministers. He doesn't even know their names, which means they're not working. So give me an assessment of the performance, the scorecard of the ministers in the last 1 year.
The ministers, their scorecard, I would say, is below par. I'm a man of truth. I'm a man of transparency. I'm a man who would not whitewash any words for you. It's way below par, below standard. We Nigerians were not happy at all. So what I'll just say is there needs to be a bridge between the government and its people. We need to know who you are. If we know who you are, we can connect with you some way, somehow. They need to be more proactive. They need to be more empathic. They need to have the interest of the masses at heart. If you do, you reach out to your constituencies, let them know who you are, do more, and then you will see more. If you can encourage people to do more, to dream more, to be more, to think more, then you're a leader.
Okay,
that's
let
more
me ask you this question. I will also ask you the name of the ministers. Let's take this call.
Okay. No, I'm not going to call any names.
Good afternoon.
Hello?
Good afternoon. Go ahead. Your name, please, and where you're calling from.
I'm calling from Nasarawa State. I'm Mohammed from Nasarawa State.
Okay, go ahead, sir. Mohammed.
Please, thank you, people on the studio.
Okay.
Please, in fact, if you can tell ourselves the truth, what is happening in Nigeria is saying for this youth. See this protest they have made. See all people that achieved here is youth. You will come out to bring our feeling. What is happening with us in Nigeria, we youth. But when you come out for protest, we know that anything will happen. The sport, the other one, those that are well doing, they bring their own problem to operate a different act. But those people that have to be dealing differently after they begin, policemen, they wake out and they begin to shoot us, they begin to kill our youth. Is it the best?
It's not the best.
Is it the best? It's not the best, not supposed. They have to do, to share our problems so that next time a president will come out to appreciate us. We should come down, everybody will give us all my threats. I'm going to do something. It will take 3 days. We are doing protest. But the president has said nothing. Showing that what the security they are doing is good. It is democracy for everybody. Everybody has to come out and say the truth to say on top.
Okay.
So we, in fact, you people have to consider the youth.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you.
He said we. He said you people.
Thank you for your contribution. There's an old saying that everybody can resonate to. If you fail to plan, you've automatically planned to fail. Every Nigerian is upset, including myself, including you. But if we're going to come out for a protest without organizing it, without planning, you don't just plan the date, you don't just plan the time, you don't just plan the venues. You've got to plan it properly, organize it properly. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're not going to do. And then the ones who are going to do what is not right, what can incite for opposing violence from the military. By the way, the military are people who act on impulse. If you start to do something, that will trigger whatever sort of action to curb you down, they will do whatever they can. That's why they're the military. What I would say is we need to plan ahead of these protests.
Okay, thank you.
In order to achieve a common goal.
Okay. Hello, good afternoon. This is the POLITY. Go ahead. Now we are assessing the performance of the government. They signed performance bond before, after they took oath of office. Yeah. Let's take a look at the Minister of the Blue Economy. What's happening there?
For me, it's the same. It's the same thing happening in every parastatal in the nation. We lack integrity, we lack accountability, and we lack empathy. If we're accountable enough, whatever funds that are put in to get things done would be accounted for. But unfortunately, many of these funds are not accounted for. It's been stashed in some Swiss bank somewhere. And at the end of the day, the job is not done. So that's why it's affecting every single iota, every single ministry, every single industry in the country. And whatever projects come up, it seems like projects just come up with big names just so you can embezzle more money. So I just think, the rehabilitation of the mindset of the typical Nigerian, from the leaders spiraling down to the grassroots. So
if you are to score this, we have 45 ministers.
Yes.
They were 46 before Beta Edu was relieved of her position. Yeah. Now, how would you rate them? How would you? What yardstick would you be using?
One very poor, 10 very good. I would say 2. They are way below par. And, you know, what I'll just pray is we can have the leaders who are visionary leaders, the likes of Obafemi Awolowo, the likes of Kwame Nkrumah, the likes of Nsemi Nyerere, the likes of Nelson Mandela. These are people who had the interests of the masses. The Nigerian economy has more than enough to enrich, I didn't say take care of, to enrich every single citizen, even if you're not working. The Nigerian agricultural stratosphere is enough to feed every single Nigerian. Why are we poor? Why are we hungry? Because of the leaders that we have up there. We need a rehabilitated mindset spiraling down from up there down to us in the grassroots, and we'll see so much change. This is where everything boils down. Even if, God forgive me for using this example, but even if Jesus Christ comes down to become the president of Nigeria, we're not going to flip in 1 second because the masses still have that mindset rehabilitation to happen in our heads, in our minds, for us to move forward as a nation. But I know that as we transcend into a better Nigeria, like one of the callers said, if it starts working, you will forget your sins. So once Nigeria starts getting better, the economy starts booming, the dollar starts getting equal to the naira, the cost of living starts reducing drastically, the cost of fuel and all of these things, we shall be very excited and we shall praise whatever government is in power that brought all of these things into play. There are accusations that many ministers were appointed on the basis of political exigency, some on the basis of nepotism or their contribution to, that's the political exigency I talked about, that they are square pegs that cannot fit into square holes perfectly. What's your view on that? Yes, Nigeria is ravaged with the plague of nepotism. Oh, my person must be the one in there, because of what he's done to me, or because of his relationship with me, or because of, unfortunately, that's not the criteria for leadership. So before we get to the criteria, let's take this caller. Good afternoon, this is the Polity from KAFTAN Television.
Hello.
Go ahead, sir, we can hear you.
Yes, I'm calling from Karo.
Okay. Go ahead, sir, we can hear you.
I want to say a good job being done by both of you in the studio there.
We appreciate, sir, we appreciate.
Thank you very much.
I just want to ask your guest.
Ask him.
Just one question. I don't know how long it will take us for the refinery to be fixed.
Okay.
How patient are we going to be? At what point do we lose our patience? Let Nigerians know. When do we say we've lost our patience? Everybody's saying be patient. So at what point are we going to lose this patience so that we know how long we are waiting or what we are waiting for?
Okay.
That's just my question.
Yeah, that's a direct question. Kaduna Refinery has not pumped 1 gallon of PMS in the last 20 years.
It's unfortunate.
And there have been turnaround maintenance,
It's so unfortunate how we are a petroleum producing country that imports fuel. It's very sad. That's the worst thing you can ever hear in any economy. We would have risen from third world country to at least second or first world if we have the right leaders. But what I'm saying, we've lost our patience. It's okay to lose your patience. I'm not telling Nigerians to be patient, but I'm saying that whatever actions we have to take, let it have a direction. Let it be organized. Let it be collective. Let us achieve that goal. Let it not be separated. You're going in this direction, destroying public property. You're going in this direction, looting from the ShopRites. You're going in that direction. It's chaotic. Yeah. Let's come together. Let's have a plan. Let's have leaders in the protests. Let's have leaders amongst the masses that are having meetings, planning something collective and organized, and then let's push hard. We can change the government ourselves. Okay. I believe. We have this caller. Good afternoon. This is the Polity from KAFTAN Television. It's getting interesting. Please, your name and where you're calling from. It's getting hot. It's getting hot. Heated up.
Good afternoon, my brother. I'm Father the Church Dinky calling from Adamawa State.
Father, go ahead from Adamawa State, my brother.
You are doing good in the studio, you and your guest.
Thank you so much.
I just have a little contribution.
So go ahead, Usoko.
We have been pushed to the wall.
Yes, yeah.
Somebody who is not skilled, who cannot have access to medical health, you don't have food, you don't have food, your own security is at risk, and they are telling you to be patient. When you hold somebody to his neck, that he cannot even breathe, I don't think he will choose where to blow you from.
Yeah, right.
It can blow you in any part of your body, be it your eye, your ear, your nose, anywhere, your mouth. It can give you a blow in any part of your body where he thinks his hand can reach. Nigerians have been patient. In fact, Nigerians have been more than patient.
Yeah.
Our lawmakers, I mean the representatives, the House of Reps and the senators, they have never been patient for a single day that, okay, let's cut this, we don't want this since this is happening. But they keep pressing the masses, and we should be patient. Yes, we are patient, but we have been pushed to the wall. Somebody that has no any other alternative, I don't think that person will have a direction of saying, okay, let me go this way, or let me wait for this to happen. So please, what we expect the government should do is, we are expecting the government to give a good listening ear to the masses.
Okay.
To hear the outcry, because honestly speaking, things are out of hand. Thank you.
Thank you, Podadi. He's a regular caller.
Welcome, Podadi.
Yes, Podadi. Let me ask you. Now we are assessing the performance of ministers or lack of it. Now we take specifically the Minister of Agriculture. We all know that there's widespread hunger and poverty in the land. People must till the land before they can produce food.
Absolutely.
It's only from this food that we can conquer food insecurity. Now the farmlands have been ravaged by banditry and
terrorism and all of this.
Should the Minister of Agriculture be blamed for that?
Well, if the problem...
It's a difficult question.
No, it's a very interesting question. You know, the Minister of Agriculture is in charge of agriculture.
Yes, that's right.
He's not in charge of security and insurgency.
That is it.
So I don't think he should be blamed in that regard as to the context you've just brought out now. Because at the end of the day, there's a major insurgency, especially in the northeast, the northwest. That's the problem of the state government and the federal government. They should put proper security measures in place that can curb all of these obstacles. Another problem is bad roads. Yes. Even without the insurgencies, how do you get produce from the farm to the end users? The bad roads, the roads are terrible. You know, so at the end of the day, some of these trucks overturn on the roads, on the highway. So I'd say it's still a federal government problem.
Those bad points are spots for bandits.
Those bandits, you know. So I think you shouldn't blame the Minister for Agriculture. Rather, we point it
within that context.
Within that context alone. I quote. I say in quotes. You know. So that's my response to.
Okay. We've lost the caller. What about? I think it's the same thing with the Minister of Solid Minerals.
Yes, the same thing.
The same thing. What about aviation?
You know, for the aviation, I don't think we have such security insurgencies with aviation. You know, so I just think the minister, you know, it's appropriation of funds. If you are given funds to do one thing and use it to do the other thing, come on. Look at the Olympics. We had the Nigerian team saying thank you to Germany for letting us use. That was ridiculous.
Bicycle.
That was ridiculous. It's just one bicycle. You know, yes, we're grateful and thankful to Germany, but why on earth should an Olympic team not have access to at least 15 more bicycles? Professionally standard bicycles.
Okay, let's take this caller. Hello, good afternoon. This is the POLITY from KAFTAN Television. Good afternoon, sir. Go ahead, your name.
My name is Donald. I'm calling from Warri.
Okay, Donald from Warri. Please go ahead with your contribution.
I just want to say you one thing. Our government, is sensitive of what is happening to the ordinary people. That's the
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we are going to take a short break, and when we return, we are going to shift gears to discuss local government autonomy against the backdrop of the 10-man Inter-Ministerial Committee that was set up to be chaired by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akumebe. That will be after this short break, and Justin Adelusi Adeluyi will still remain in the studio to give us his thoughts. Please stay with us.
In the beginning, God created a beautiful world.
3, 2, 1. Action.
And that's why, at KAFTAN Television,
we imagine a beautiful world.
We are not just bragging.
We blaze the trail in broadcasting. And it is
about you.
At KAFTAN TV, broadcasting is not just about information, education, and entertainment.
It's an aggregation of all you need to know in Nigeria
and around the world to create signal.
At KAFTAN Television, we have all it takes to be on top in broadcasting.
Our mission is simple: to project Africa in a truthful yet positive manner.
Wait, we're coming to you in style.
Here we are, starting from September.
Look at what the facts are.
And as you say on KAFTAN TV, imagine a beautiful world.
You're welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the Polity live from KAFTAN Television Studios in Katampe, Abuja, the nation's capital. My name is Maucauley Hunohashi, your host. And then still with me in the studio is Justin Adelusi. Adeluyi, he is the leader in politics and policy making.
Absolutely.
You know, his friends and political associates refer to him as Mr. Nigeria shall be great again for obvious reasons. Yeah. He is highly optimistic and is being full of hope that Nigeria shall be great. Nigeria will be great.
Absolutely.
Adelusi.
Absolutely.
We were discussing Nigeria, particularly the cabinet reshuffle, which is, people say it's imminent. But we're going to shift gears now to local government autonomy.
Right.
On the 11th of July 2024, Lateef Fagbemi, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Minister of Justice and Attorney General, secured a judgment that, you know, ensured full financial autonomy for 774 local government area council of Nigeria. How did you welcome that ruling by the Supreme Court of Nigeria?
Well, that was a major milestone. That was a major step in the right direction, you know, because one of the things the state government has done is suppress the access of fundings to local governments. You know, in Nigeria, leadership on the local level varies across the states. In Lagos, for example, the government has focused on infrastructure, and you can see that, you know, in the productivity, in the transportation scene, urban development, and all of that. You know, but unfortunately, one of the major problems, or I like to use challenges, of the local governments is the state government suppressing their financial power. This undermines the access to funding, and this also removes that independence from them, you know. So it's something that was a great step in the right direction, and I think we should sit on that, put our foot down, and see how they can have autonomy in terms of access to funding.
Now, what would you say is that thing that militated against, you know, local government not having their own independence across board? Because the Attorney General went to court on 27 grounds. Now we have one.
Yes.
And people say he's just being methodical and meticulous about it. Instead of going the whole hog to get the 27, he's starting with financial autonomy for local governments, and which has been granted. Now state governors have continued, because there is a lacuna, which is the joint account. And governors have continued to violate or breach that Supreme Court ruling. What's your take on that?
Okay, so this still boils down to the kinds of leaders we have. You know, they lack integrity, they lack accountability. You know, not giving access to the local governments, crippling their independence is just like a country still being under colonial rule. You know, the fact that they want to remove those funds that should be taken to the local government and just keeping in their coffers for private use, not even for state use, is the reason why we're there today. So my take on this is, you know, we need a rehabilitated mind spiraling down from the leaders. That's just the only solution that I can prefer right now. But it's a mess.
You know that some states have...
But like you said, he only pushed for one to begin with.
Exactly.
You know, Rome was not built in a day. You know, every great dream starts with one step. So we start with that step, and then we push, and then we push, and then we push, and very soon every of those 27 laws will be coming.
You know, it sounds, disturbing. It looks disturbing that the Constitution recognizes 3 tiers of government. The federal, the state, I don't want to go into those details, and the local government. And then the state has its own independence, the federal has its own independence, but the state, the local governments have been suppressed by the states. And now we have gotten this landmark judgment. Tenor, I want to ask you the question about tenor. How do you feel that the local government don't even have defined tenure. But state governors, for sure, they know that when they come on board at the first instance, it's 4 years, which is renewable. So also for Mr. President and his deputy, the Vice President, it's 4 years at the first instance, and then which is also renewable. But that of local government is topsy-turvy, you know. So how do you feel about it?
Okay, so first and foremost, I would suggest constitutional reforms that would itemize and explicitly state the tenures for these local governments, and of course help to increase their autonomy. All right, because at the end of the day, without a constitutional reform, the state government will continue to suppress their powers, suppress their independence. I would also talk about capacity building. You know, the local government representatives are usually looked as thugs. People who just rise up from the streets, rise up, you know, just having grassroots and everything. We need more capacity building training, you know, for these leaders. And we're gonna, you know, Nigeria is so rich. Nigeria is so blessed. We have everything we need. All we need to do is properly put them in the rightful place, and you'd see a very upward spiral of progressive movements.
So many states are yet to conduct local government elections. In spite of that ruling, while some have rushed to conduct the elections. But there's this particular case in Oyo State in particular. The 33 local government area council chairmen came out to say they are withdrawing their membership from Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, ALGON, for obvious reasons. Many people say, well, what do you expect from them? After all, they are tied to the apron string of the governor of Oyo State. And the governor has not said anything. Is that healthy for our kind of democracy, in spite of the ruling that they got from the Supreme Court?
It's not healthy, just like the masses who are tired. All right? What I'll just say is the local governments in the country together, if there's a local government council body,
they have ALGON.
Yes, ALGON. They need to come together with one voice.
With one voice.
Not local governments from Uyo, local governments from Madamawa. They need to come together. That's the only way their voice can be heard.
Okay, let's take this call.
That's all we need to do.
You continue on that line of thought. Good afternoon. You're welcome to the POLITY.
Good afternoon. Ebo can call again.
Ebo can, you're welcome back. This is your show. Go ahead with your contribution.
This local government autonomy, I'm fully in support of it. I'm very happy about it.
Okay, sir.
Because the state government, they have really dealt with the local government. So now, if it is fully implemented, I can ask my local government chairman, you have not had my word, what is happening? I can hold my councillor accountable for it. But now, my only fear, I still want the House of the Representatives and the House of the Senate to also pass a bill so that the INEC, the federal INEC,
election,
to be in charge of the local government election.
Okay.
If not, we are still where we are. Nothing will still, everything will still remain the same. So that's my take now. I'm pleading with the House of Assembly to work on that fast.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You know, his concern, he raised a very, very valid point.
Absolutely.
State governors, there's what we call SIEC, State Independent Electoral Commission. They are, you know, they operate within the whims and caprices of state governors, because the state governor appoints the chairman of SIEC, he appoints all the directors, and then he holds meeting with them. That is the umpire body that conducts election. That is why, at the turn of every election, the turnout, the result turns out to be a clean sweep by the government in power. He is suggesting that, you know, there's a different body should be saddled with conducting the election. That is INEC.
Yes, so basically the constitutional reform that I'm speaking of is going to address all these issues. If we can have that, and then this can be put into law, I think we would have...
This will call you continue on that line of thoughts. Good afternoon. This is the POLITY from KAFTAN Television. Go ahead, please. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, so basically if there can be a constitutional reform that addresses these issues, a constitutional reform that gives a lot more autonomy to the local governments. They have their body that conducts their elections. There's a tenure for a local government, interim government to operate before the next one. I think we'll be able to address all of these issues because the state government would continue and forever until their kingdom come, until this constitutional reform is put into place, oppress and suppress whatever powers the local government think they have or they should have.
Now when this thing holds sway, when it is finally resolved, local governments are going to be getting their allocations directly. Forwarded to them. And many people believe that there will be robust, competition, so to speak, at the local government level. Professors, people like you can even come to throw their hearts in the race. Because we have wealth of experience, you are bringing it to bear in terms of provision of expectations of governors at the grassroots level, which will make, development competitive. Do you share that view?
Yes. Even some of the masses who are facing this poverty thing, if there's proper allocation, proper autonomy with the local government, some of these things can be averted, because now local grassroots incentives can be put into play for the grassroots, the very flat level. But what I think is, when this has come into play, we still need that capacity building training, because at the end of the day, it's still the same kind of leaders that will be at that local level. So you think autonomy to local government is going to solve the problem? You've only done half. The leaders who lack integrity and accountability still in those positions of power, nothing would change. It will still be the same thing. So at the end of the day, we still need that rehabilitated mindset for our leaders. I keep preaching this every single day in and day out. So yes, it's really good.
Okay, let's say this caller. It's really good. Good afternoon.
Hello. Yeah, good afternoon, sir. This is Mr. J again.
Mr. J again, you're welcome back. It is your show. We don't take you for granted. Go ahead.
I'm in support of the local government autonomy.
Okay.
Yeah, we are heading to the right direction gradually, but in the sense that there must be an agenda which the local government, I don't think they are going to have full autonomy, because this will be another way of, let me just put it this way, from the federal trying to allocate these old men again to give them position, because by local government having a full autonomy, definitely the old people will have a corridor of power which they will be like appointed. They will never allow any youth to be there for the progress of this country. Just think about it, because that would be a very lucrative position or appointment.
To embezzle money.
You understand?
Yeah,
so we, the youth, we are happy because, fine, we look at it, okay, fine, they will allow the younger one to be there, but think about it on the other way around. This will be the old fools that will still be there. Let me be honest with you. It's the right thing, but let's just put what I said on ground. The old people will still be there, controlling the local government, even councillors. They will never allow the youth to get it better.
Because of the resources that will be there.
Thank you.
Let me speak.
Thank you very much. Go ahead.
I hear Nigerians saying, allow. Like it's supposed to be handed over to us on a platter of gold. Sometimes, I don't want to be very religious, but the Bible says the kingdom of God suffereth violence and the violence take it by force. Sometimes you have to take that power, but in an organized way. That's what I think the protest should do. In an organized way. I don't believe that the Nigerian youth should lead the country. I believe that Nigerians who have the interest of the masses at heart should be at, whether old, young, whatever. Because if you put a Nigerian youth there who doesn't have the interest of the masses, he's going to do worse.
The same thing, yeah.
Unfortunately, if he's ravaged by any of the trials of addictions, we are finished in that parastatal. So my point is, let's not wait for power to be given to us.
It's not a buffet.
Increase the decibel of your voice. If you look at me on social media, I have no business talking about anything, any shenanigans. What I speak about every day is how Nigeria can be great again. Everything I say is channeled in that direction. Let more people come. Spend the money you spend on having a party, spend it on promoting yourself and what you say about your country. Spend it on promoting the betterment of this country. You'd see a drastic difference. A typical Nigerian youth wants to have a good time. A typical Nigerian youth wants to have fun. Rather than putting themselves in position, we can come out there and get the job done. We can come out there and let our voices be heard, but let it be organized. Let there be a direction. As you can't, without an iota of doubt, know or tell me you don't know where I'm headed. Everybody knows where I'm heading. Some places where I go to, they call me honorable. I've never sat in any position of power. I've never been in the House of Assembly except as a visitor. But because of how I am, the things I speak of, you already know where I'm headed. So I believe with more Nigerian youths increasing the decibel of the volumes of their voices, we'll be able to. We take it by force. We're fed up. We take it by force.
I think you are just re-echoing what President Tinubu used to say during campaigns.
Right.
He has this platitude that he always quotes before a large crowd, that politics is not given a la carte. It is like a buffet.
Oh yes.
You reach out to grab what you feel you can use that.
Yes.
You make it better.
Yes.
Okay, going forward, these funds that are accruing to local government, monies have already been disbursed in the last 2 years, 2 months, and it has gone into that joint account. EFCC have always reminded the local government chairman that, look, you have been granted your full financial autonomy. Don't allow the state governors to hoodwink you into misappropriating those funds, because it is you that will come after.
That will be accountable.
They will be accountable.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
Well, I think it's very good. By the way, I must commend the EFCC. They have woken up. They've woken up, Yes, we're not there yet, but I think we're on our way, So I must commend the Economics and Financial Crimes Commission, doing a great job. The local government chairman and representatives need to sit up and be on their A game, all right? Especially those who have a bit of integrity and accountability in them. I don't believe in if you can't beat them, join them. You have to change them. You don't join them. If you join them, then it's a defeated purpose. Change them through whatever means. So just let them know your stand. Stand your ground and let them know, because it's something that has been put into law. You have the law behind you, backing you up. Stand your ground and make sure you don't compromise anything that would jeopardize, because at the end of the day, you're going to be the one to be accountable for anything. If the funds are misappropriated, they're not going to ask the governor. Or because he has been released into the joint fund and this is the one allocated to the local government. Fight for your rights and take it by force. Take it by force.
I'm a journalist,
right?
I'm not a lawyer, and I don't know better than the Attorney General of the Federation, who is a senior advocate of Nigeria, Lateef Fagbemi. We have a law, that emanated from the Supreme Court, which is the apex court, that has granted full financial autonomy to local governments, area councils. As a policy maker, from a layman's point of view, do we still need a committee to enforce the law?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Simply because it's pioneer, simply because it's not something that we are so used to in the country, simply because we're just beginning to accept it. At the beginning stage, I think we need a community, not just to enforce.
He is a member.
Yes, not just to enforce, but to organize, to manage.
See how the monies can be
we lack a maintenance culture in this country. We can start a really great project, but we don't follow through. So this committee is going to also manage, maintain decorum within the local governments as they try to disburse these funds in the right, appropriate way.
So it is an inter-ministerial committee, chairman committee.
Okay. It's okay.
And then the secretary to the government of the federation is the chairman. And then you have Attorney General of the Federation, the Minister of Justice.
Yeah.
You have, the Finance Minister and chairman of the Economic Council, and then you have Minister of Budget Planning. Then you have the chairman of the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission.
Really good.
Then you have representative of the EFCC. You have representative of state governments and representative of the local government chairman, the direct beneficiaries.
So I think it's a great committee.
Okay, beautiful.
It's a great committee.
So, what are your expectations? Because we should be hopeful.
Great. So my expectations would be funds will be allocated appropriately. I believe there will be less pressure from the state government. I believe the local governments would have more autonomy. They would have more access to funding, which would help to increase the cost of living, to increase the welfare of the grassroots. I think with proper control, we would also be able to experience a lot of more independence, at the local level, which is going to be a win-win-win, for everybody.
Every revenue accruing to a state governor or a state government comes from a local government. So by implication, local state governors will be short-changed, because if local governments are taking away their revenue, all of them, for instance, a state that has, like Kano State, has 44 local governments, and if local governments are saddled with the responsibility of taking their own and keeping their own revenue, what goes to the state?
No, that's why the money allocated is in a joint account. That means there's a particular amount for the local government and a particular amount for the state in general. Unfortunately, the state government is taking the entire 100% and keeping in the coffers. Now let the local government take their share and let the state government work.
What about the IGR, internally generated
Well,
revenue?
internally generated revenue is also very good, but then the federal allocations is more than enough to get the job done. Internationally generated revenue is just an addition.
Okay,
per state.
I'm asking this question because when you take a look at a state like River State,
right,
internal generated revenue of River State is 28 billion naira.
You can imagine.
Monthly.
You can imagine.
So and local governments like Egbeakpo and Port Harcourt, you know,
I'm just coming from Port Harcourt.
Exactly.
Very abundant.
So they generate higher. Yeah. When you go to a state like Lagos State, you say, you know, local governments like Ikorodu and
Etiosa, Limota and all that,
they generate humongous amount of money.
Yes.
Which the governor, with this thing taking effect, the governor does not have a say.
Oh, it's very good.
It's very good.
It's very good. I can say this because at the end of the day, like you said, that local government generated.
Yes, exactly.
It wasn't allocated from up down.
Exactly.
The one allocated from up down has been blocked for many years.
Exactly.
Which has limited the amount that can be generated.
That's
if
right.
these monies are generated by the local government, let it be used for the local government grassroots. It's
Absolutely.
still within the state. All the state governor or government has to do is just control from above, like a ceremonial head. So I think it's a really good thing. Let's just have it with leaders who are filled with compassion, who are filled with integrity, and who are accountable for every single penny.
I've interviewed someone who is excited. He said he's excited because of one single reason. And he said it is that of the fact that anybody that will emanate or emerge as local government chairman or chairperson lives within that community, so they cohabit. So they know his house.
Yes.
Any misdemeanor,
they go to his
will
house.
march to his house and tell him,
I'm sorry to say this, you know, but if these protests were targeted at corrupt leaders, at their properties, I don't promote violence, but unfortunately Nigerians take advantage of these things. So if you're going to be violent, go to these embezzlers, grab them by the shoulder and ask them the question, where is our freedom? And I believe that many of the corrupted leaders out there would walk away.
Okay.
They would walk away.
Let's take this caller.
Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. This is the Polity from KAFTAN Television. Go ahead, please. Hello, we can hear you.
Turn off the speaker.
Please, can you turn off the volume of your television set?
Many people want to hear themselves on TV.
Exactly. He said the corrupt leaders will walk away. You just said.
Oh, they will. They will. You know, because at the end of the day, when we talk about protests, the leaders are just sitting in their palaces with lots of security, and they say, "Oh, they're about to destroy public property again." But if our protests are targeted at these leaders, oh, they would flee. They would flee. They would flee. They would flee.
Like the Bangladeshi Prime Minister.
Exactly.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, we can hear you.
This former Charles Link is still on the line.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to make my little autonomy.
Okay.
The local government autonomy is a very good policy with the grassroots. That is the local government and the ward level. But what many Nigerians are afraid of is the issue. Nigerians are still looking at these mega parties, how their interest forms, nomination forms have been so high that one cannot afford. In some states, you hear they say the funds will be sold at the rate of 15 million, 10 million. That should not be anything to the common man.
Yeah.
These are people we know their capability, we know their strength, we know how money they have. They have been with people. These are people who are living. It's not necessary that we should be buying the mega parties.
Okay.
There are some
other alternative parties.
I
don't want to call them small.
That's very true.
Which may produce a very good candidate. So you don't need to gather 10 million to go and possess one. You know somebody that is capable, no matter how small the party is. This is your man, and he works for you. What can't you do for him? Let's forget about these mega parties with their money.
Okay.
And let the federal INEC take absolute control. Let the state be kept aside. So that everything will be free and fair.
I agree.
Okay. What local government are you from? What's the name of your local government? Is it Jamsa Numan Olamurde? We have lost him. He talked about his state, Adamawa State. I remember the last election last month. There was an election shortly after the the Supreme Court ruling. The state governor, the state government provided forms.
Very exorbitantly high.
Very exorbitantly, and nobody could afford it. But the state government paid for the preferred candidates, and they were announced.
Good.
They are the local government chairman. That's exactly
May
what
I
he's talking
chip in? I remember you said something about a local government representative to be somebody who lives in that locality.
Exactly.
So like Poor Daddy said, we know them. We know their capabilities. It's not like the president that can be very far away. The local government elections should be allowed to be extremely autonomous and free and fair, simply because we know these people. We can hold them accountable. Not every one of the people we can hold accountable might be able to afford these exorbitant fees. So rather than making the local government elections so exorbitantly high, the tickets and all that, let's just make it very, very simple, so that even the ones who are capable but not able to afford these things will now have access to a free and fair election. So the state government doesn't have control over who comes in and who stays out.
Okay, beautiful. Good afternoon. This is the Polity from KAFTAN Television, live from Abuja.
Thank you so much, you and your guests at the stadium.
Yes.
I'm 100%, even if it is percentage more than 100, I'm also in support of it.
Thank you.
But the problem is, I don't know. I want to throw this question to the guest.
Okay.
The other time, even the president, when he was the governor of Lagos State, he had he created other local government which raised an issue with the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo.
That's right.
And now, the successor of the former governor, who is now the president, it was through him that they now changed that name, that new local government to the development area. I don't know what will happen to those areas, or local government, the development area, if the autonomy is fully given onto them.
Okay,
so
thank you.
I don't know. So that is the question I want to ask.
Before your answers, I think the Constitution recognizes only 774 local governments, and their names are there written in the Constitution. Can you respond to his question?
So, autonomy will be given to these 774 local governments.
That's right.
If you're not listed on this, you don't exist. All right. So, whatever local government is given autonomy would have complete control over funding, over budgeting, over allocations, over everything.
And
so, I think it's a win-win-win.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if a local government is not accredited or acknowledged, it doesn't exist.
By the Constitution.
Just put it.
Exactly.
That's not where we're going.
You have answered
We're
this
just
question.
going strictly for the 774 local governments that have been approved by the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the Constitution as of today.
So those development area councils that governors usually, create are just internal.
Unfortunately, they just have to merge with an existing local government.
Because there are delineations carved out by INEC.
Well, we have in holistic management, you have to have empathy, but sometimes you have to take some decisions that might pinch a bit.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, that's not the elephant in the room.
That's right.
The elephant in the room is the autonomy of the generally accredited and acknowledged local governments that are existing as of today.
Okay. In 2014, the Orensanyo report, which I'm sure you're familiar with,
absolutely,
recommended the unbundling of INEC. The argument is based on the fact that INEC is saddled with so much registration of political parties, registration of electorate, updating and cleaning of voter register, assembling of beavers machine, and then conducting elections across board. Some people are agitating for INEC to be saddled with the responsibility of conducting election across 774 local government in addition in what they do. There are also people who are saying INEC is saddled with so much. So create another body, unbundle INEC, create some bodies that one will be saddled with registration of parties, another one saddled with updating of register, another one saddled with segmented like that. What's your position?
Okay, that's good. It comes in two ways. If they stay the same and they unbundle them, it still boils down to the leaders, the positions of power and the people who occupy them. So the reason why people are talking about unbundling and oversaddling is because they seem to be a monolistic body, or monopolistic body rather, that is doing everything, and then once you have INEC in your pocket, you have all of these parts.
Exactly.
So even if you unbundle, even if you break them down into parts, if the leaders in those various units are still in the pockets of the cabal or in the pockets of the corrupt leaders, it's still the same ballgame. So at the end of the day, it still comes down to the rehabilitation of the mind. I preach that every single day.
You keep talking about
I keep talking about that. That's what we need in this country. We need a transformed leader and leaders and the citizens in general to enable and achieve greatness for our country, Nigeria.
And I've also interviewed someone who said the single reason why he supports this local government autonomy is because of the fact that he's a farmer. He said, and he doesn't own a tractor. That if he has a chairman that has endeared himself to the people and is, farmer friendly, he could approach the chairman, through the local government to have a lease of a tractor than for him to take a whole stressful journey to the center, to the state capital. What do you think?
I think so. Like I said earlier, when the local governments receive autonomy, it's going to have a lot of progress on the grassroots. Even if the chairman is not agro-friendly, there's going to be more than enough resources for whatever industry you operate in to flourish. So basically, I'm very much in support of this autonomy of the local government, and I believe that with proper control, proper maintenance, proper management, we shall achieve a much better governance, much better welfare, starting from the grassroots. I'm very interested in the grassroots.
Okay, as we're winding down, what is your... Okay, let's take this caller. Hello? Good afternoon. This is the Polity from KAFTAN Television. Good afternoon, sir.
Please, I'm calling from Brass.
From Brass. Wow. Go ahead.
This local government autonomy is good because if you happen to give money to the governor for agricultural project, the governors have the same immunity with the president. You cannot hold a man responsible when the man is in power. But if money is given to the local government for agricultural project, those local government chairmen that does not have immunity will do the job perfectly well. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Very correct.
You have already said.
Very, very correct. So it's the same thing I'm saying. If we can remove that oppressive power of the state government, who necessarily don't have the interest of the local government at heart, because sometimes you can blame the federal government. The president cannot do everything for one country. That's why we have several arms. All right. So when funds are allocated to state and local, and then the ones for local is embezzled by the state, you can't have any progress. So basically, when this autonomy is put into place, the local governments have their independence, and then you see a lot of progressive movement, progressive development spiraling up from the grassroots. So I think it's a win-win-win.
It's a win-win-win.
Win-win-win, yes.
Okay, now let's talk about the attitude. You've always emphasized on change of attitude.
Absolutely.
Now
Mindset.
We have governors that have turned out to be some kind of behemoth. They are not accessible, they are not reachable. Many people are entertaining fear that there could be a rub-off effect over the local government chairman. They will become unreachable because of the they will get carried away with the funds they allocated, with the money they allocated.
That's very true. I touched base on that earlier, and I said, listen, it's not about just allocating the monies directly to the local government. It's not about just the autonomy of the local government. Capacity building training, mindset rehabilitation training. We need the leaders that are filled with empathy, leaders that are filled with integrity and accountability, leaders who are vision oriented. When we have such people who have the interests of the masses at the very forefront of what they're doing, there's going to be a lot of progress spiraling up from the grassroots. So basically, it boils down to whoever is sitting in whatever position of power. How's his mindset? Is he thinking about enriching himself and his pockets and his family and keeping money on the ground to rot or in an air-conditioned room? Or does he have the interests of the development of his locality? If each local government starts to develop, like you said, there'll be competition. Your local government, my local government, it starts springing up. as a nation collectively we would experience an upheaval of progress and success, and we shall achieve greatness as a nation.
Why many Nigerians are, advocating for the removal of immunity clause for governors from the Constitution?
I am in support of that.
Others are arguing for the insertion of immunity clause for local government chairman. Okay,
so you see, this
because they say what is good for the goose
is good for the gander, but unfortunately, not everything good for the goose is good for the gander. You see, people take advantage of immunity. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So if you have so much autonomy with no control, you have immunity added to that. Oh, you become a god.
Yeah.
And trust me, in an already corrupted system, you'll be polluted. So what we need is transparency. You already have the security, you already have all the everything to guard you and all that. So you're fine if you can be transparent and get the job done. You have nothing to fear. The reason why many of these people have so much to fear is because their hands are dirty. Funds that were allocated were not properly disbursed. Funds that were allocated were not properly appropriated. They are not accounted for. We are angry. We are tired. Where are these funds? Where are they going to? We have more than enough that have been put in place to make everybody happy, to feed every citizen. Where are these funds going to? That's the question.
So let's follow the money.
Let's follow the money. And you find where the progress of this country has been hidden. Someone's backyard, someone's septic tank, someone's Swiss account somewhere, so it's spread across everywhere. See the financial state news that came out like a week ago. The amount of billions that leave Nigeria, and I mean in USD, every single day.
Every single day.
It's ridiculous. It's not meant to leave to a private account. It's meant to remain here to increase the development and the progress of our nation.
Many people are being full of optimism that with full-blown financial autonomy across the 774 local government areas, with a projection of just only 10 years, Nigeria will change. Nigeria will be great. You share that view?
Boom. I actually say 5 years. Or less.
5 years or less.
Because the grassroots is predominantly the larger population.
Yes.
There's only about 10, maybe less than 10% that are living way above the poverty line, So I believe that with autonomy, even without control, but I propose control, there will be a booming progression in the economy from the grassroots up. And then ultimately there will be happiness in the land. With happiness, with peace, with contentment. Oh, Nigeria shall boom. Nigeria shall boom. A typical expatriate would rather go to South Africa, go to Ghana, go to Kenya than come here. Not because of anything, but because the things that should have been put in place with the natural and physical resources that we already possess. Rather than putting them in place, we go somewhere else. So that's the major problem we're facing right now. So if all of these issues can be addressed, starting from the rehabilitation of your mind, empathy, love, vision-minded, integrity, accountability, just these few factors, there will be a major progress in our nation.
You have mentioned these few factors, and that's my last question. Upon which you are hinging your approach to governance for people who want to throw their heart in the race, not based on gender or age.
Not based on gender or age. Yes.
And let me take this caller before I ask that next question. Hello, you're going to be our last caller today on the Polity. Please go ahead, your name and where you're calling from. Thank you, well done too.
I'm just appreciating you people.
Thank you, we appreciate you too for calling in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we did okay. We did okay, fine. We did fine.
We did grateful.
We did, can't we?
We did, can't we?
Okay.
You have a good time?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's a good one.
Now, as we went down, the last question is, you have a demographic, you have a constituency.
Absolutely.
That is the young people's constituency. Definitely you cannot shy away from it because it's providential. What will you be telling young people as far as democracy is concerned? Because that reminds me of Plato. Plato, a great Greek philosopher that once said, if you don't take active part in the governance of your country, then you'll be doomed to be under the rule of fools.
Yes.
What will you be telling young people?
That's very correct. We have to project our voices, but project it with direction. Project it with the collective interests of the needs of the masses at the forefront. Project it with organization. All right, because at the end of the day, you can't wait for power to be handed over to you. Oh, till thy kingdom come, it will never be handed over to you. In order to take power, take it diplomatically. Project your voices. All right, the time you spend on social media posting all sorts of rubbish, post productive stuff.
That can add value.
Oh, that would add value. Because I see some youths, so many youths, they don't think about tomorrow. You see them with the selfies. Oh, I'm into digital marketing and communication, so I do a lot of video content and everything. But the video content I put out there are contents that preach about the greatness of my country, Nigeria.
And you smile to the bank.
Oh, I smile to them. I smile to the bank.
You smile to the bank.
Oh yes, of course, by the grace and mercy of God. That's actually because of my own personal handwork. You know. So my point is, be positive about your country. This country is ravaged by the triads of addictions, drugs, prostitution, gambling, which every typical youth is looking for a quick money scheme, quick money making scheme. That's not going to help Nigeria. That's only going to take us backwards. So I put my belief out there that I believe this country is great, despite the state of affairs. I believe that we can attain that title of the giant of Africa. By the way, we have lost it for many years now.
So give us milestone, the picture of Nigeria is in the next 5 years, 10 years.
Okay, I would say by 2025, we would have already kickstart our journey into absolute greatness.
2025, that's next year?
That's next year. Yes, that's by next year we'll start, because it's already happening. When the dollar was going up, my phone was blowing up. Oh, look at what your excellencies do. Look, by the time the dollar started coming down, nobody called me. But the prices of goods started going, still stayed up. Now, what happened to the prices? Why didn't they come down?
Exactly.
So the president is not the only problem we have. We Nigerians, as the masses, are also a problem to ourselves. So it boils down to a transformed mindset as a nation. If we can transform the mindset of at least 52% of the federation, I believe we can begin our journey to progress and greatness.
Well, Justin Adelusi, Adeluyi, leader in politics and policy making.
Thank you very much.
And who is fondly referred to by his friends as Mr. Nigeria shall be great again.
I believe that.
I thank you most profoundly for finding time to come to the Polity.
Thank you, Maucauley.
Thank you so much. Well, viewers, that's the size of our package today on the Polity. On behalf of my producer, Ruben Okala, and the entire production team in the master control room of KAFTAN Television here in Katampe, Abuja, my name is Maucauley Hunohashi saying thanks for joining us. See you next time and bye for now.